Hi, I'm Genevieve Randall, and this is Plain Story Podcast. We're still hanging out at Golden Studio, the barbershop in Lincoln, Nebraska, that doubles as a music space. Because, well, just listen. I'm a little amped up.
I don't even care what time it is now all of a sudden. I just don't even care.
That's me, many sips into a cup of coffee on a Thursday night. I'm checking out this little universe around the corner from my work that I've never witnessed before. Ziad Sheikh is playing the electric saz. Hassan Khalil, the owner of Golden Studio, is playing keyboard, and Eric Higgins, the man who brought me here, is trying to keep up with his stand-up bass. It's so cool hearing Ziad respond to Hassan's phrasing and the energy building and building. At Golden Studio, I'm sucked in. Musical exchange. It's something that just infatuates me.
Hassan Genevieve plays the flute.
Oh, yeah. Oh, love that.
Next thing I know, it is quite literally happening to me. Hassan has a flute propped up in the corner.
Cut the air. Okay, this is not going to result in a good result. I can tell you right now.
I tried it once.
Try it.
Hassan wants me to try.
How do I aim at it? I have to figure out how to direct the air against that.
Yeah, that's the thing. I might not.
It's like
I'm not quite getting it. I feel a little bit of, on-the-spot pressure.
at practice, I'll bring it back.
Yeah, you can have it for sure.
I can borrow it?
Yeah, borrow it.
A few weeks later, I got back together with Hassan and Ziad because I wanted to hear more of their story. But first, I wanted to show them.
There we go.
Then I start to get it. Barely.
There we go.
Good, yeah.
Hold on. Now see, I got it.
Yeah.
You know this one?
Titanic.
Yeah, is it?
Braveheart, Titanic.
It's amazing, Grace. Thank you for letting me borrow this.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
been really
You
fun.
can have it, honestly.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that like, what is it, Indian flute?
It's like
Indians?
an Anasazi. This gift means so much to me. Eric and Hassan and Ziad are encouraging me to overcome our musical differences. Then maybe we can create things together, get our musical traditions to talk, so to speak. It's something that I've been pondering since that first night in Golden Studio. What can happen when we all take the time to create something together? Maybe it isn't music, maybe it's food, maybe it's a garden. But the act of creation opens the door for us to be better neighbors. And Lincoln, well, Lincoln has a lot of new neighbors. This might surprise you, but in 2016, Lincoln resettled more refugees per capita than any other U.S. city. As I've said, there are people in Lincoln from all over the world. Some of them chose Lincoln, and some of them didn't. Hassan and Ziad, they are refugees from Iraq. But their stories are complicated and unique from one another, as are all the stories of immigrants and refugees in the United States. In fact, 7 years ago, Hassan and Ziad didn't even know one another. When did you two meet? Did you meet in Lincoln?
2013, first week
October.
when Ziad arrived to the States, yeah.
They
Second
threw
day,
a big
actually.
party for
yeah,
me.
we threw a party for Ziad.
How did you each get to Lincoln?
How we came from the refugee camps in Syria was through the United Nations, differently than how Ziad came here. We came here through like different embassies, just come to the refugee camps, interview families, they look at the situations. So we never knew what country is going to really take us. Australian embassy, Canadian embassy, American embassy, Sweden embassy, all over. And
Let's pause a minute. Starting this podcast, I thought I had a good sense of what refugees were. I mean, I knew the word and I could use it in a sentence. But sitting across from two men displaced from homes halfway around the world, I started realizing how little I actually understood. So I asked Lacey Studnicka for some context.
My position has really evolved, but to describe it, I would say my job is to make people love refugees.
Lacey works for Lutheran Family Services, a nonprofit that, among many things, helps refugees get resettled in a new place. Lacey's the director of engagement and outreach.
It's really important for people to know that a refugee is a person who is forced to flee their country. So they don't choose. They have to flee for their lives, and they make it to a second country for what is supposed to be a temporary stay of safety. So, for example, the Yazidis, a lot of them didn't even have a place to go, so the United Nations even, set up camps within Iraq.
Lacey gave me some great insight into the experiences of people coming to Lincoln, way more context than we could include in this episode. So we're going to release a bonus episode with her interview. But one thing she said really got me.
It's an intense process, but millions and millions of people will never be resettled permanently and live in camps where they are in barbed wire fences and live in a tent with their whole family.
I have to let that one sink in for just a second. Sorry, I didn't know that would get me.
So it's really special when that 1%, I mean, if you combine all of the countries, not just the U.S. If you combine the U.S., Canada, Australia, put us all together, it's still less than 1%. So it's not a lot of people, and they're very fully vetted when they get here.
I think you're spot on when you're talking about getting to know people specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Just meeting people, because I just couldn't stop thinking about Hassan talking last night about just being without shoes and running around the camp, and he was kind of having a hard time putting it all into words, and he said as much. And then later talking about people not wanting people to feel sorry for him.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just a lot.
It is. And I think we have a unique opportunity to restore dignity, to say to someone, by the grace of God, you made it through this insane process. And it's our job in Nebraska to show you and to help provide opportunity for the best life possible. And it's so easy to do.
Talking to Lacey was a little overwhelming for me. It's one thing to talk about the statistics and the numbers and masses of people, but thinking about those numbers and then thinking about this kind, generous father of three, Hassan, it's really hard. Hassan was born in Iraq, but his family had to flee when he was 3. At the end of the Iran-Iraq War in the late 80s, the Iraqi government, led by Saddam Hussein, launched its Anfal campaign, which was a genocide against the Kurdish population in its northern region. Other minority groups like Christians and Yazidi were also targeted in the attacks. In 1987, Hassan's family escaped to Syria and spent 11 years in a refugee camp before coming to New York and then Lincoln in 2001. The road to permanent resettlement is a lengthy bureaucratic process, and millions of refugees in temporary camps are waiting to become permanent refugees in places like Canada, the US, Australia, and Europe. How many Hassans are out there? How many Ziads? Ziad was not in a refugee camp. His perspective on home is different because he lived in Iraq for the first 27 years of his life.
I was a student. In 2006, I dropped my school and I became a translator with U.S. military. I served U.S. military as a translator for 5 years and a few months.
2006? Like, how old were you?
When I went to school, it was very late age. I went to school because of the situation we lived, the poverty, and the reason I was at first grade actually when I dropped my school. And the reason I did that, my mom, we took her to the hospital and doctors for almost about a year, and we owe people a lot of money, so I had to make a choice. I was the only one in my family going to school. I know a little bit English that time, so I decided to drop school, become a translator. They paid about $1,000, which is a lot of money in Iraq, and I supported my 3 older brothers, my 2 sisters, my father, my sister-in-law, and their kids. For 5 years I did that.
Have you two talked about this with each other very much, your lives?
A lot of stuff, non-details like this, but yeah, we talk about little events, events, but not like storytelling, no.
Yeah.
Because me and Ziad met here. We met here.
Right.
But, yeah.
Right.
When I came to...
First day you came, they told me there's a musician in town, and I invited him.
I was so excited.
Lincoln was not the sole location for Yazidi refugees. Hassan was in New York initially, and Arkan, the singer, told us he had lived in Phoenix. But once a small population in Lincoln took hold, word spread amongst Yazidi families that a community was beginning to grow. Yazidis in other towns and cities started moving to Lincoln to be able to practice their religion together. From 2004 to 2014, the Yazidi population grew from around 300 to nearly 3,000. Again, here's Lacey.
And so Lincoln now has the most Yazidis in the United States. We're kind of the capital. But since the travel bans, no Yazidis have arrived. And so it's a really devastating situation for them.
For sure. I mean, if you want your culture to go on for long, it has to be, it has to be number. Like, I mean, personally, I know a lot of Yazidis here have bigger opportunities to move to different states. I'm one of them that have bigger opportunities. I'm a barbershop owner, and I have other opportunities in other states for sure, bigger states. We play music. If it wasn't the Yazidi cultures, we probably everything else could be just other opportunities. But like, my biggest reason is here is because of the Yazidi community, honestly.
When I decided to come to America, I was gonna go to Idaho, and every time I mention Idaho, people are like, "What are you gonna do in Idaho?" The only thing they have is potatoes. Okay, now I gotta choose another state. There's 50 states. Come on.
Well, here's corn.
Then then the word is spread that there's a Yazidi community, about 20 or 30 families lives in Lincoln, Nebraska. So I said, okay, which one's worse, Idaho or Lincoln, Nebraska? He was like, well, they're the same. And I was like, okay, at least if they're the same, at least we have about 20 or 30 Yazidi families, a community where they can help me too when I go there. It's something new to me.
So how you feel about Lincoln now, Ziad, that you live here?
Honestly?
Yeah.
I don't want to say it through this recording. I don't want to say it. I think
This was a moment where I had to take a step back to check myself. I'm proud of how welcoming Lincoln is as a community, and I'm so happy I even get a chance to meet Hassan and Ziad. But Ziad starkly reminds me that this, living in the U.S., living in Lincoln, isn't always a choice for everyone. Hassan and Ziad have very different perspectives on Lincoln as home.
I feel like this is my only home here now, honestly. Unless it's something major, I honestly wouldn't leave. Unless it's like something that big change, it has to be a big change for me to go back ever.
But I can understand you wanting to go back, Ziad. I really can.
I will never be able to accept this as my home. I respect the place. I respect the people. I have a lot of respect for them. And I appreciate everything they do for me. But still, since I lived there for 27 years in Iraq, it's kind of hard to accept this now. It's not easy to erase your memory and accept this situation you're in right now. It's just hard for me. That's how I grew up. Probably for some people it's easy, but for me it's not easy.
That's why when I think of back home, you get confused, you know. I mean, we came from back home. To me, it's refugee camp, you know. If I really go, for him, it's Iraq.
And those two different life stories, two different stories of what home means, it changes their approach to music. And Ziad needs to block out life's daily struggles and remember home.
For me, if I want to play perfect, I have to think about back home. I pretend that I'm there and I'm performing music there. And that what gives me motivation to concentrate more in music, to come up with every beautiful details. I put it together and I put it in that melody when I play. But if I think about here and when I'm going to pay my bill, and I have to go get a mocha frappe for my wife and cheeseburger for my son.
And Hassan plays to create joy in the moment.
I would say everyone plays it with the love. You know, love of the music. If you don't have that, I feel like it's just not worth playing.
On the next episode of the Plain Story Podcast, it's time to bring someone else to Golden Studio and begin a new conversation about home, this time from someplace quite a bit south of here. The Plain Story Podcast, The Sound of Home, is produced by NET Nebraska. I'm your host, Genevieve Randall. Our producer is Brian Seiferlein. And our associate producer is Monica Starr. Our field audio is by Emily Kreutz, Nathan Toddhunter, and Andy Bigham. We had editing from Alex Epperson and mixing by Nathan Toddhunter. Our graphics are by Joe McMullen. Bill Anderson is our radio network director. Chad Davis is our executive producer. Special thanks to Golden Studio, Eric Higgins, and the Lincoln Crossroads Music Festival. See you on the next episode.